Good morning, Tamside. So today on Friday, the 19th of March, it's actually World Storytelling Day today. I'm going to talk a bit more about that in a minute. But before that, I wonder if year three, if you're wearing trousers, pull up your trouser leg. If you're in skate, everyone will see them anyway. But I wonder if you are wearing odd socks today. I'm sure you're wearing them on your feet, not on your hands. So year three, if you see them around school, they've got odd socks on today because actually on Sunday it's World Downs Day, and to celebrate young people, children, adults that have Down syndrome, year three are wearing odd socks. So if you see them wearing these odd socks, it's not because they didn't have a matching pair this morning. They've done it intentionally to raise awareness. So well done, year three. Take my odd socks off my hands, so I've got them free now. So in assembly today, I'm going to give some certificates out first. But on Monday's assembly, I will give out the postcards and any other certificates, and I'll also say top readers on Monday. Because most of assembly today is about World Storytelling Day. So we have got here, congratulations to Amy in YFM. You've got your Yellow Club 11 Maths Club certificate, well done you. Freya Pennicott, you've got Yellow Club 11, well done Freya. We've got Fatima Chowdhury, Green 66, whoa, that's amazing. We've got Ganeth. You have got Green Club 66. That's amazing as well done you two. Heading towards the trophy for Mega Brain. Ihan Ahmed, you have got Lime Club 33. Fantastic. Matilda Duncan, Lime Club 11. Well done, Matilda. Mia Cox, Lime Club 33. Great job, guys. Daisy Walker, Amber Club 22. Really well done to all of those children. That's really great effort. So, once upon a time, a long time ago, well, actually, it was back in 1991 in Sweden, a storytelling day was held. The ethos behind this event caught on around the globe, and now we celebrate World Storytelling Day on an international level across the globe. The aim of World Storytelling Day today is to celebrate the art of oral, verbal storytelling with as many people as possible on World Storytelling Day, telling stories and listening to stories in a variety of different languages. So this year, World Storytelling Days, every year there's a theme. Last year, you might remember it was journeys. This year is new beginnings, which I think is quite apt because when we had World Storytelling Day last year, we did journeys, and do you remember I did about being on a cloud and going over different places, and you had make-believe different places. Someone had like a land made of sweets, and someone had animals living in a jungle and ocean creatures, and I read you my example, and year six at the time said that they thought it was quite good what I'd written, but there was room for improvement. So that was on journeys, but now this year the theme is new beginnings, which I think is quite apt because it almost feels like we have a chance for a new beginning after what we've been through over this year. It's nearly a full year now since the first lockdown. It's this weekend last year that the dates that we had the lockdown in the UK. So new beginnings is really, I think, a really great theme for today. I've got a special book to share with you, a story that links to new beginnings that I'm going to read in a bit. And after that, I'm going to show you something that I made last night, and my son had a go as well, my year six son, to show you an example of what you could do today based on World Storytelling Day. When you do tell a story, it's really good to have fluency, so to keep talking, to keep everyone's interest. It's great to have really good imagery, so you paint a picture in someone's mind because your description of what's happening is so good. And vocal expression, so not sounding like a robot, really flat, and everyone's bored and they stop listening to you. Really good expression and different voices. If you like Mrs. Jacobs, she can do a whole variety of different accents and voices, which is really engaging to listen to. And coherence, that the story flows together, that it makes sense. And that's how you can tell a really good story. So I'm going to share with you a story called, actually I'm not going to say the name of the story in English, I'm going to say it in some other languages first because it is World Storytelling Day. And if you speak any of these languages, you might know before other children what the title of my book is. So here we go. And if I say them wrong, I apologise. Teacupi, tassa a te, tea tassa, taza di te, and cola de cha. If I got any of those right, then that's good. So some of you might know from what I've just said, or everyone has no clue at all. But the title of my book that I'm going to share with you today is actually Teacup. So there you go, there's the front cover. There's lots going on in the front cover. I have scanned this whole book in, so I've taken photos of it so that teachers can share it again if children you want to look at the pictures in more detail and maybe clearer. Maybe it's not that clear when I'm reading, but in the folder on Common, teachers can have a look and find this book. I wonder if you can spot the teacup on the front cover. You see it? It's down there. I love his reflection. Reminds me of a time I went to Canada. Not Canada, I have been to Canada, but New Zealand, sorry. And there was this big lake and you could see the reflection of the mountains. It was literally Lord of the Rings country. It was amazing. You can see them mirrored and reflected. So, Teacup. Wonder why it's called Teacup. I will tell you a little bit about the symbolism of a teacup and what teacup can stand for, but you might be able to work it out as we read the story. So remember, the overriding theme is new beginnings. So let's see what happens. And it might remind you of a few stories that you already know, like, oh, I won't give them away because it'll give the story away. At the end, let's have a think about stories it might remind you of. So we've got some end pages there. You see there's a flying fish. They're pretty amazing flying fish. And a bottle, and a book, and a teacup. So here we go. Once there was a boy who had to leave his home and find another. In his bag, he carried a book, a bottle, and a blanket. In his teacup, he held some earth from where he used to play. That's the picture from the front. Some days the sea was kind, gently rocking him to sleep. See the dolphins swimming. Must be very peaceful, but at the same time probably quite lonely. Some days the sea was bold and the boy held tightly to his teacup. Crashing seas. Some days the sun shone bright on an endless sea of white. Isn't that beautiful? Other days were so dark that the boy longed for the stars. Every day he watched the horizon for a speck that he could follow, until it grew into something glorious. But there was no sign of land. As the boy stared at the sky, an albatross cut across the blue. The way it dipped and dived reminded him of flying kites back home. The taste of salt on his lips reminded him of the sea breeze, whistling through his favourite tree. Look, he's imagining being back home. The way the whales called out to one another reminded him of how his mother used to call him in for tea. And the way the clouds slowly swam into view reminded him of how things can change with a whisper. Bit like what happened over a year ago for us, isn't it? Things can change so quickly. Reminds me a bit of the Wizard of Oz where everything's been whisked away. The boy awoke to something new. Over trembling seas it grew and grew and grew. Look, in his boat, what's he awoken to? Something has started to grow. The tree gave him shelter and shade, apples to eat, branches to climb, and cosy nooks that he knew were just perfect for daydreaming from high. From high he continued his search for a speck on the horizon. Wow. Amazing. Just noticed something I hadn't seen before. Can you see what's in the sea down there? Reminds me of Moana, stingray. When he first saw it, it was so very small that he wasn't certain he'd seen anything at all. But before long, there was a bump. He's on land. Look how long his hair has got. Bit like some of us after lockdown. The boy was happy with what he saw. There he began to build, and he waited for a whisper. Look, he's getting older. You see he's built somewhere to live. He's got a goat and an apple tree. Until the day the girl with the broken egg cup arrived. Look. She probably had earth from where she used to play in her egg cup. And that's the end. Or is it? How observant can you be? He had an apple tree. She had a pear tree. And what's happened? Can you spot? Little feet. Adult feet and little feet. A new beginning. I just think this story, I mean, the paintings alone are absolutely beautiful. It reminds me of a lot of different stories that I know. Bit like Noah's Ark, where they were looking for land, it was just water, 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 and that bit of hope in there. Symbolism wise, I'm sure you can think of lots of stories that this reminds you of. Symbolism wise, he had a teacup and she had an egg cup. Now, an egg is the start of new life, isn't it? So that's what she was bringing with her. And that's why Easter eggs symbolise fresh start, new life, chicks and things like that, and which is why we give Easter eggs. But a teacup, it's a bit different, isn't it? So I thought I'd tell you a little bit about the symbolism of a teacup. Tea actually brings people together. You might hear your parents or teachers at school saying, "Oh, would you like a cup of tea?" And actually it's a chance to rejuvenate and bring some harmony and some peace just for those few minutes while you drink your tea. Share a laugh with somebody. Mrs. Burton's very good at tea, bringing people together with tea, getting people tea just when they need it. So tea itself, tea leaves, represent harmony, peace, rejuvenation, refreshment, and change. They can represent change. And a cup of tea, it brings people together. And actually in this story, that teacup and the egg cup brought two people together for a new beginning, which I really like. But lastly, cups in general, most cups are narrower at the bottom and wider at the top, just like a teacup. Most cups are like that. Do you know why? I asked my husband last night, he didn't know. Do you know why teacups, or any cup in general, is typically narrow at the bottom? No? So it's really interesting because we have two symbols. We have the masculine symbol, which is a triangle where the point points upwards, and we have a female symbol where the triangle points downwards. That's the female one. And teacups very much represent their feminine, female, and mothers and nature and new life. So that's why a cup represents like a chalice, and it's literally in the book, the cup held Mother Nature, didn't it? So what I am proposing that you do for World Storytelling Day today, you could have another look at that book. As I said, teachers, it's on Common. You could have another look, but I would like you to spend your English lesson today, or whatever your teacher's got planned for you to do, designing your own teacup. It could be a flat one, it could be one that you make from your own template, because I know lots of you are really creative. Younger children, it can be a flat design, but the idea is you tell a story on it in pictures, and you can use, it's up to your teachers really, but you could use Evie, your amazing watercolour. That book was full of beautiful watercolour pictures. Pens, pencils. I'll show you what I did in a minute. I used this template here, and I blew it up to A3, and I made my teacup on that, or else this one was going to be very small for me. So this is what I did. I'll just give you a show. So the idea is that after you've designed your teacup with a story of new beginnings, be any story you like. So it could be the story of lockdown and coming out of lockdown, having to work at home, learn at home, and everything being shut and then everything's open again. It could literally be a new beginning of an egg and it's slowly hatching, and then you have a chick, or anything you like. You come up with your own story, a new beginning of you have a fallout with your friend and then you're friends again. Anything you like that tells a story of new beginnings. So I used the story from the book. So I did my teacup. By the way, when you do the handle, if you use my template that I shared, colour both sides, and then you fold it and stick it on the X bits, and then you put it together so it sticks out like that. That's the only bit you need to colour both sides really. So I started with my seed, and then it started to grow more, and then it burst out of the cup into that tree. But I think the middle place is a really nice place to put that real new beginning. So inside mine, I had the apple and the pear. Now, I did the saucer to go with mine. You don't have to at all. But on my saucer, I loved the bit with the dolphins swimming under the water. So I chose to do those purpley dolphins. And on the base of my saucer, I've done his boat, because that's what took him to his new beginnings. And my saucer will remind me of that story that I read to you today of new beginnings. So that's why I decided to do it on my teacup. You might know another story you want to copy, or you might want to come up with your own. So there is my teacup. I'm asking each teacher to give me 4 teacups from each class to go on a whole class display, which I'll put in the junior activity area. Just to show you my son's, so as I said, he's in year 6. He did his. They're learning about war at the moment at his school. So he's got a purple handle, and he started with a silhouette of a soldier running, saluting, and the cross. And he's done it on purpose, that the soldier started really dark black silhouette, and it got fainter and fainter and fainter. And then in the middle, I wonder if you can work out what he put in the middle of his. A poppy. Okay, so your teacup, whatever you design, will help you tell a verbal story of new beginnings. I hope you have really good fun designing your teacups and your stories, and I look forward to seeing what you've done, and I can't wait to put the new display up. I get very excited about things like that. So I hope you have a great World Storytelling Day, and if you see me around school, tell me what your story is going to be about. I'd love to hear it.